What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are introing with our very first review of the Godzilla x Kong The New Empire Playmates toys. Yes, it is finally starting. We have been building up to this since the beginning of January, so there's lots to look forward to. Obviously, I have waited until I managed to get everything from this wave to before I actually get started and do the reviews. So, we have a lot of figures ahead of us. I am truly excited to get into them because Playmates sure has a lot to offer for this film, and I do hope this film will perform very well. So let's begin these new reviews, shall we? This is our very first figure that we'll be looking at, and this is the very first one I actually acquired when I ordered all the figures for the first time. This is, of course, Suko with my boy Titanus Doug. This is, of course, a fan favorite Titan. He appeared for 0.5 seconds in Godzilla vs. Kong, and then the internet fell in love with him, and to the point where Legendary themselves has acknowledged him as Titanus Doug. So this is his official name, and it looks like he will be making a return in this movie, and I do hope he's going to be in there for more than 5 seconds. Hopefully he has like a whole scene dedicated to just Doug walking around eating stuff. That will be a very, very good scene. So this is basically a 2-in-1. Do we classify this as a 6-inch figure? Because these size of this package is usually for these 6-inch figures. However, we have 2 small figures here. Let's look at the package. This is a new art of Godzilla and Kong. This is going to be like the default movie art that you're going to see for all the merch regarding this movie going forward. A lot better than what we got in the previous Godzilla vs. Kong packaging. Suko with Titanus Doug, and then we have all the other logos on it. And then here is the French, because I am holding a Canadian distributed figure, not one from the US, so that's why we will have French as well on the package, because this is distributed in Quebec. All right, here is the back, and you'll realize my hand is covering the bottom because it does reveal a spoiler monster. Now, if you've been keeping up with my unboxing videos, you'll know that I've been trying my best to censor the spoiler monster, just in case there's people who want to go into this movie blind without getting spoiled and still want to see his reviews. We have a beautiful photo of Suko and Doug. Looks like Suko is about to play fetch with Doug right there. So text-wise, we've got right here, fully articulated and posable. And then on this side, we got Suko with Titanus Doug, or, shall I read in French, Suko avec con Titanus Doug. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Let's read this text, shall we? The English part, of course. Don't let his size fool you. Suko is a scrappy fighter with raw, primal strength and a bad attitude who always has Kong's back. So is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? In the trailers, it revealed he's, meeting Kong, but something tells me he's like a descendant of Scar King or something. I guess we'll have to see when the movie comes out. And then let's read the movie synopsis right here. Godzilla and Kong return in an all-new adventure, pitting the almighty Kong and a fearsome Godzilla against a colossal, undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. And the rest is just all in different languages, so that's why we're not going to read them, because I suck at reading other languages. So, I do want to show you the bottom. But my fingers should be covering the spoiler monster good enough. So, beside the spoiler monster, we've got the other Godzillas. Of course, I got them all, but just showing you anyways. There you go. Kong with Peace Glove and Scar King avec les whiplash. Tried to read the French there. So, without further ado, let's open it, and let's take a look at Doug and Suko. Here they are, Kong, Mini Kong, as they like to call it in the trailer. Not once did they mention Suko as the actual name in the trailer. I hope they address him as Suko in the movie when it comes out. And of course, Doug, the beloved Doug. Let's look at the figures before we make any more conclusions. I want to see what these figures offer and what they bring. And especially I want to see how the Doug, a character that appeared for 5 seconds, get his own toy. We gotta take a look at this. Let's look at Suko first. There is a rock that is included. As you can see, he was holding a rock. This is the only accessory that's included. It seems like the camera can't put in focus. There we go. So this is actually pretty detailed for a small little piece. It's got texture, that's for sure. And it also doesn't have a connector piece, so you just kind of have to balance it on Suko's hand. Luckily, as you will see momentarily, Suko's hands quite flat. He has a flat palm, so you can actually put the rock in it quite easily. But I will say I much rather have an accessory like this than a vehicle, like a heave or a tank or a helicopter. Like, this is actually something the Titan will use. So this is quite useful. This is a very good accessory, and it's the only accessory, and I feel like that is well deserved to be included. So now, let's take a look at Suko himself. There is a lot of articulation. I did not expect that for this kind of a size of the figure. He is not that big. He is quite a small figure, and as you can see, as I put my hands behind him, you can see that he's just about that size. He's, I'm not sure what the exact measurements is, but he's definitely on the smaller side. He's not 6 inches, that's for sure. So here's Kong. One of my older Kongs from Godzilla vs. Kong. There you go, that's what we're looking at here. As you can see, Suko's not too big, but I feel like this is pretty scale accurate. Is Suko as tall as a human though? That's what I'm curious. I think he may be bigger than a human. Articulation. I didn't expect this to be quite articulated. He has quite a bit of movements. Then again, the Kong has lots of articulation. So honestly, I should have seen it coming for Suko. He's basically a scaled down version of Kong. So the articulation comes here. You can move the shoulders and the arms. You can move the wrists, and adjusting the wrists is very important, or else you're not going to put the rock on. And the rock, you literally just, you loosely just put up here. There you go. There's no attaching points. I can easily knock it off, as you can see. So it's not meant to be secured onto it. Of course, you can move the elbows. There you go. Move him around. So, you know, treat him as you will do with any action figure. And then he has waist movement. This is a surprise. Suko's got a waist movement here. This is amazing. 360 degrees. Not even Kong has that. This is a complete surprise, and I think it works. I mean, this is kind of creepy if he does this. That is quite scary, but realistically, like, this is good because his head cannot move. There is no, sort of, but you can't twist it all the way around. It's quite limited, as you can see. I can turn the head. It's just, think of it as a 180 turn. Legs, of course, you can move his feet, you can swivel his feet, move his knees, move his upper legs. So lots of articulation you can do with Suko here, which is honestly quite a surprise. I just didn't expect this much articulation for a small figure like this. Keep in mind, it's small. He's not that big, and yet Playmates was able to give him full articulation. And then even if you're displaying this, just putting them on display, there's lots of different ideal poses you can put him in. So I think it's genuinely a good thing that there's articulation. This is, of course, a toy after all, so they need to have playability. Now, articulation aside, let's look at the prints. So the texture is pretty good. You know, he is a monkey after all, so it's good to have some fur, and Playmates is able to tackle that quite nicely with the texture. You can see the fur. They've done that pretty well with Kong. Obviously, this is a smaller scale, so I think it should be easier. Color-wise, Suko only has 2 color schemes. You have this dark brown color scheme, and then you have gray, gunmetal gray for his hands, for his palms right here, as you can see. You don't want too many colors, or then it becomes clashy, and we know that from the city battle set. The Kong was clashing with colors, and that was not a good thing. So it's good they kept it simple here. There's also gray on the feet, only at the top though, because at the bottom, it's just regular brown, once again. But the biggest detail comes within the face, and thank God they actually put some effort into the face. As you can see, the eyes, well, I will say the eyes are a little bit creepy. At least they gave him eyeballs. That's the most important thing. Thank God Suko has eyeballs, because it actually shows he has some human-ish emotion. There's also a scar across his left eye. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, but yeah, there's a scar on his left eye. There's good printing here. It's not super complicated. They kept this straight with just 2 colors, green for the eyes. I think it looks good. However, one little criticism, the green bit, the irises are a little bit, they're not really in the middle of the eyeball, which I guess is fine. You know, we all move our eyeballs all the time, so I guess it just makes it, but you know, a little part of me wishes it's kind of in the middle, just, you know, for the sake of just to make it perfect. But other than that, that is pretty much it. I don't have much to say about Suko. Like, there is not a lot I can actually talk about. I'm just impressed by the mobility this guy has. Lots of articulation. And of course, even if you put on display or creating a little scene, at least you have some different poses you can strike him into. So there's lots of options here. That is Suko. Obviously, we have Doug to take a look. So let's look at Doug. Here is the man, the myth, the legend himself, everyone's favorite, Doug. What an awesome Titan, I will say, which is quite ironic with his size. However, this could be a lot better. While Doug is fantastic, and this is hands down one of my favorite figures, they could have done so much more with him. And the main problem comes with the face. The most important thing when it comes to a face is the eyes. And as you can see, I had to zoom in very, very intensively for you to actually somewhat pick up of a detail of Doug's face. I wish there was some eyeballs, you know? If they can give eyeballs to Suko, why can't they do the same with Doug? It's not bad, but it does look like Doug is in a trance. He's dead, and he's just been brought back to life. Giving him 2 little black dots, and that already make him feel more alive, if you will. Look at Suko here. Look at Suko's case here. You can see it looks creepy, but at least it does look like there's emotion. There's a face. Look, he looks alive. That's something they didn't do with Doug. And I wish they did that. However, it's still a great figure. The color scheme is very simple. It's just black, nothing else, which I think would have been nice if we had a little of a contrast. Maybe like a little gray at the bottom would do the trick, because I don't think Doug is, you know, he doesn't look like this. I'm pretty sure Doug is a lot more colorful. And yes, you'll be quite surprised, he does have articulation. He looks like he's limited in articulation, but no, he actually does have articulation. So the first thing we have here is the tail. Look at this, 360 articulation. That's because the tail's on a ball joint. So that is fantastic. Next up, we have his feet, his tiny little leg. Yes, they have articulation. Quite restricted, it's a bit tight. There you go. You can see it. And his front legs, there is articulation here as well. While you cannot open and close the mouth, you can twist his head a little bit. Mine's a little tight here, maybe because it's, you know, a fresh figure. Not really played around yet, but you can see, there you go. There is somewhat of a head articulation. So Playmates has put in some effort to make sure this figure is still playable after all. And honestly, apart from the face, this is a very good figure for Doug. Just give him eyeballs. It's a very easy thing to do. And I would say maybe include a little crab for him to munch on. That'll be quite nice as well. But I am glad that Doug even gets a character recognition. He gets all the love from the internet. So honestly, this figure, very well deserved. But between him and Suko, who do I think is better? I can't make that comparison yet, so I might want to save that for the final verdict. But so far, with this Doug, I am very impressed with what we got here. Just fix up the face and we have a completely perfect Titanus Doug. So ultimately speaking, this is a pretty solid set, maybe just not for the price I paid for. So I think if you're gonna pay 10 Canadian dollars for it, then you definitely have a bit of a value to it. It's definitely feels like it's worth that much. Will we see these two characters bond during the movie? I hope so. It would be pretty funny if we saw Suko riding Doug in a battle or something. That would be pretty jokes. I think that would be pretty funny to see. These two figures as a whole, I think works as a, you know, a price point of a 6-inch figure. Putting these two together, so they're around $10 each, but I just feel like it's a little bit on the higher price point. Though, I will say Suko has great articulation. Doug is a little bit more limited, obviously, but he does have some stuff. His legs, his tail. I mean, you can only do so much with a guy that looks like an alligator, so I guess that's fair enough. Suko is surprisingly a lot better than I expected. You know, when I first saw the images, I thought his eyes were gonna look bad. But then I got the 2-inch figure of Suko, and yeah, spoiler alert, it looks like he is possessed. The rock is a great inclusion. I'd actually rather have that as an accessory, something for the Titan to actually be able to use, rather than like a heave or a tank or a helicopter. Just something that just seems so unnecessary, and Playmates just threw it in. The rock makes sense. But that is it for this first official Playmates review of Suko and Titanus Doug. A great start, I will say. I'm really impressed by this. You know, it's not perfect, but I'm really impressed by what they have to offer. Thanks for watching. If you want to see any of the previous Godzilla vs. Kong reviews, of course, the playlist is always open, as well as the haul videos. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll see you in the next review.